Farmers' open challenge to Macron over EU-Mercosur trade deal. Angry farmers threaten to lay siege to Paris if demands are not met. The French power seat is in sight of angry farmers. The EU-Mercosur trade deal, negotiated over the course of 25 years, may soon see the light of day. The trade deal is expected to be signed in Paraguay on January 12th, but anger is intensifying in the European Union, and France is in the grip of a storm. French farmers accuse unfair competition, violation of EU safety standards, and the destruction of local agriculture. With anger already spilling onto the streets, the French capital is now bracing for a possible showdown. Angry farmers have now threatened to bring Paris to a standstill. Poultry farmer Pierre-Jean Besson said farmers may be forced to toughen the movement and may stage a blockade of Paris. But before laying siege to Paris, farmers blocked motorways with tractors in the Vendée region to protest the EU-Mercosur deal. With bales of hay, vehicles blocked the motorway. Tractors and trailers can be seen carrying messages reading "Cattle sacrificed" over the recent cull of French cows. Other banners like "Mercosur equals imported trash meat and dead farms," as well as "Together let's defend our safe and healthy agriculture," were also spotted. Farmers also called French Agriculture Minister Annie Genevard Annie the Butcher. Remember, France is the EU's largest agricultural producer. France has set out 3 conditions for approving the agreement: safeguard mechanisms allowing imports to be stopped in cases of dumping, mirror clauses requiring Mercosur products to comply with EU rules on pesticides, and tighter food safety inspections.
For now, nothing is happening. I think we're going to have to really toughen our stance within the movement and probably go a bit further, maybe head more towards Paris. Maybe one day, maybe at some point, we'll have to blockade Paris and really make the government understand. During the Christmas holidays, it's true that people are more on vacation. And now the problem is that people are going to start working again. Maybe we shouldn't bother them too much during that period either. And that can be understood. And that's when I think we might, at some point, have a population that might be less. Also follow the agricultural sector, even though I think that today they also really understand our demands.
2 years now of mobilizations that have made themselves heard with a certain number of... We can clearly see that global politics is changing, and so it's up to us too to adapt at the French level, at the European level, so that we are more in line with these positions. A free trade agreement in 2025, both regarding climate issues, economic issues, and especially agricultural ones, I don't think that's the best solution.
The demonstrations reflect wider European farmer opposition to the Mercosur deal. The pact has met strong opposition from farmers across Europe who worry that a flood of cheap agricultural imports produced under the more relaxed environmental and agricultural standards of some South American countries will put them under too much pressure. Negotiated over the course of 25 years, the agreement would eliminate most tariffs over 15 years across a market of roughly 780 million people. The EU's trade agreement with Mercosur comprises Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay. It is intended to expand access to overseas markets for European exporters struggling with tariffs recently imposed by the United States and rising competition from China. Once ratified, the trade deal between the European and South American blocs would be the largest free trade agreement brokered by Brussels in terms of tariff relief. Designed to cut tariffs and boost trade in goods and services between the blocs, Mercosur would allow the EU to export more vehicles, machinery, and wines to South America in exchange for easing the entry of beef, sugar, soybeans, and rice from the region into Europe. What began as frustration has erupted into open defiance. Farmers dumping straw, waste, and debris outside the prefecture, a raw, unmistakable message to Paris. They are protesting the government's strategy to combat lumpy skin disease, a contagious cattle illness triggering mass livestock culls. Fireworks crack the air. Horns blare through the streets. Police cars are buried in straw as tractors push dump trucks straight toward the prefecture gates. This is no symbolic protest. This is pressure. Farmers say vaccination alone is not enough, and that one new case could still mean total destruction of entire herds. For them, the stakes are existential.
Since the beginning and even today in the girls, we remain mobilized because even though we are currently vaccinating, we could still tomorrow have a case resulting in the total culling of a herd, and it is out of the question that we suffer this in our department. So today farmers have continued to show that here nothing has been lifted and that we will continue to empty the bins again and again throughout the entire department.
Their message is blunt. The threat hasn't passed, the crisis isn't over, and Christmas offered no pause. Even after the holidays, road blockades remain in place. Highways across southwestern France, from Bordeaux to Toulouse, from Bayonne to the Pyrenees, are still choked by tractors and barricades. In Auch, farmers continue blocking the ring road, sleeping, cooking, and holding the line. Placards spell it out. Agriculture is dying. The state looks the other way. A mannequin of the agriculture minister stands accused, as farmers say decisions are being made without them. Many fear the policy itself could make things worse. They warn that harsh culling rules may drive illness underground, as farmers hesitate to report sick animals.
We are almost exclusively livestock farmers here. There are many of us who are livestock farmers in any case, and we are all completely opposed to this protocol. And they don't listen to us, and decisions are being made at the state level that are entirely against what we ourselves are prepared to do. And today, the risk is that, well, people will end up not wanting to declare their sick animals, and consequently the illness will continue to spread, and therefore they are truly creating a situation that they do not wish to create.
At night, fires burn in oil drums. Meals are shared beside tractors. This is not just about disease control, it's about survival. Local officials warn the outbreak has exposed a deeper crisis, one that has been building for years.
I think, in fact, the difficulty isn't just the DNC crisis, which is, after all, a significant crisis that really stirred things up in the southwest with the interventions in Ariège and this total advantage. But it also reflects a deep malaise in agriculture in the southwest, which has been in great difficulty for many years. And we see it in the figures which I actually submitted to the Minister of Agriculture in September. Almost 50% of farms are on the verge of business failure proceedings in the gas department.
Still, the farmers are not backing down. They say Christmas is over, and they're ready for what comes next.
That's why in Auch we managed to take turns. The Christmas holidays are over. We're ready for New Year's Day. We've heard and we know that some prefer to observe a Christmas truce to be operational, to defend the future of French agriculture when things resume. Well, we will have held out. We'll be there. We're going to keep taking action. At the local level, it appears that they are turning a deaf ear. And well, if we have to escalate to the regional or national level, then we will do it, because it's been...
Following what happened in Ariège, I was immediately informed that the blockade was going to start on Friday 2 weeks ago in Auch, and I came straight here right away. I've reconnected with quite a few of my old contacts, since I'm quite often confined to my home. And I try to come as regularly as possible whenever I can manage to free myself when I'm in the area.
With roads blocked, government buildings surrounded, and tensions rising, France's farming crisis is far from resolved.